Hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to our channel, welcome to your channel because it's the content that you want. Now today I'm wanting to speak about Polygon, I'm wanting to speak about Matic Polygon, and I'm also wanting to speak about Theta. Now the reason why specifically is because I've mentioned them over the past week, saying that they're about to shoot off and take off, and yeah, just basically want to look at the charts to see if yeah, where we're going with things, right? Obviously we'll take a look at Bitcoin and where Bitcoin's heading as well, because obviously we had a bit of a Bitcoin spike as well, which obviously helped everything else. But let's just take a look at Matic, right? Is that with regards to this, I had this box here of sort of like turnaround stroke resistance, and I got it basically from the 618 fib to the 650. And you know, this is normally an area of strength when it comes to either a turnaround to bounce to the upside, or you know, a ceiling where we find it difficult to break through. So I've had this drawn for a long time, but it didn't find much of a floor and support. It just fell straight through it. But now we're on our way back up. Is it going to act as a ceiling? And there's just some interesting things on the charts which are bringing my attention to the floor, and that is that at the moment we are in a definite downward trend. And not only can we see the fact that we're in a downward trend, right, but also the fact that we can see that we are now under the 50 moving average. The minute I'm just looking on the daily, right, so we're down, 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 down. And now, as we're going down, we're looking at the RSI here, and the RSI made a high here, right? Now bears push up and they push down from the top down, right? So we're just looking at divergences. Is there any bearish divergence happening, or any continuation divergence, which they like to call hidden divergence for some reason? Okay. Now what I'd be seeing on the charts here, if there was hidden divergence play out, is that we'd have a lower low, right, which we have here, because this is a lower high. So here's the high that we had here, and obviously on the RSI we had the high, and now we've made this other high, right, on the RSI whilst we've come up here. Now this is the interesting thing at the minute, right? We've got this little tiny spike. We've got this little tiny spike on the RSI. Now that could come down, right, and make another peak on the RSI, but it would only come down. It would only come down if today closes below the previous day, right? So today is really pivotal, because if the RSI doesn't make a peak, then it means we should continue moving on to the upside, and therefore forming you know, hopefully we'll end up forming, you know, it'll continue, and then the bearish divergence would stop playing out, and then we would turn into a bullish divergence. But that's going to take a lot of doing, right? That's going to take a lot of buys and a lot of what's the word? A lot of excitement and FOMO coming into the market, which may very well have happened. Now, yesterday we had Elon Musk meeting up with another couple to discuss Bitcoin and various different ways that Bitcoin could be used as use case scenarios. And yeah, and there's some interesting things brought out there, which I'm not going to go into because that's not what today's conversation is about. I kind of covered that on yesterday's stream. But yeah, really cool stuff going on there with Matic, Polygon, and seeing really how this is going to play out. Yeah, really hoping that the Bulls can take control here, and we can end up breaking through this zone, which means that we would essentially end up breaking over it, coming above that 50, and then eventually sitting on this line here, and then moving up to the 50, and then hopefully the 318, where we found some kind of resistance, support and resistance just there. So yeah, looking overall quite positive, I hope. But really, we just need to see what today's going to bring before we can start making more speculation. But hopefully, higher highs is what we're looking to achieve. So those Matic lovers, start buying. Right? Okay, cool. So that's Matic. Let's go over to Theta. By the way, that was Matic versus Bitcoin. I trade Bitcoin pairings because ultimately it's Bitcoin where I want to be. I don't want to be in fiat. Fiat's going down in value, obviously because of the stimulus that the banks are putting out there, and because of you know, the hyperinflation that has already started. Timber being up to over 100%, so double what it was worth before. You know, if you wanted to deck your back garden and it would have cost you £2,000 last year, then you're looking at £4,000 this year. Okay, so that's certainly in the UK. CLS, it was Canadian standard sort of lumber, is what you use for stud work in building industry. That is also double, where it was £2.20 in the United Kingdom in one of our wholesalers called B&Q. It's now up to over £4 per length now. So yeah, that's doubled as well. So all across the board, building supplies and the like have doubled. Whereas have wages doubled? That's a rhetorical question, which of course you know the answer to. Okay, so moving on to, yeah, so that's what I'm trading on Bitcoin pairing. Moving on to Theta Bitcoin, but I suppose it might be more helpful. I don't know. Let's do Theta versus Bitcoin. To be honest, they're not too dissimilar. If you look at the charts there with Bitcoin, and then you look at the chart with Theta, yeah, there's a difference, but you've still got this kind of rally that happened yesterday. Then versus Bitcoin, you've got the rally that happened as well. But as Bitcoin is now dropping today and kind of coming down, we see that we're getting this more of a sort of a shooting star there, as opposed to you know, a bearish pendant sort of kind of happening there. That little doji that sort of seems to be forming. But yeah, okay. So yeah, just looking at Theta versus the Bitcoin pairing, looking healthy. Again, looking at that sort of peak here, where you saw the price of the last high, the high, and the RSI being down here, isn't really giving us an indication of anything. If kind of like the price was coming down, but these highs were going up, then that would signal bearish, hidden bearish divergence. But it's not doing that. It's not doing that. So this really was kind of, it wasn't unexpected, but it was it's certainly not what you know, just not what should be happening. Which kind of brings out the, you know, the idea of a lot of the altcoins have made this very similar pattern. Although I do find that Theta, whereas a lot of the other altcoins are kind of making almost like a bull pendant or a bull flag over, you know, on the weekly where it's coming across, was that Theta ended up kind of breaking out early, but then it's kind of come down and it's back to where it should be, kind of thing. And this line here, it's kind of, for me, it's like a line in the sand. We broke it, then we've come back above it, and yeah, this is an area where I was feeling, you know, positive about. And I tell you why I was feeling positive is because the last time that Theta ended up breaking the 30 on the RSI, the 30 being this line here, anything underneath there is oversold. Last time it came even dipped into the oversold mark. If we get our ruler and we go from this dip here, which would be just about there, and then we go up to the high, then we ended up making a 740%, ended up making a 400, whatever it was. Sorry, I've just noticed that my battery's running low on my computer, so I've got to be quick. Yeah, but we ended up making, what am I doing? Right, let's start that again. Right, so we're going from the low just there to the high. Sorry, what was it? It was a slightly out of place there. I think it must have been 740. I can see that I'm slightly. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. Stop the rushing. Stop the rushing. Because we're not Russians here. Well, most of my audience aren't. There we go. Bang on that. Oh, what? Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. From there, yeah, that's the low of the RSI. Let's do this. Do this with me, guys. All right, bang on there. Yeah, that's perfect. To the high, which was just there. 760% move. But that was when it just dipped underneath the 30. Now we're way underneath the 30. And a really interesting and strong trading strategy is if you are on that Bollinger Band on the daily, if you bring up the Bollinger Bands, which I get quite excited about because it's it's quite rare that this ends up happening, is when the here's the Bollinger Bands here, when the price comes down and falls outside the Bollinger Band, and it did just here. It came outside the Bollinger Band and closed outside it, and we're in the oversold area. It's a massive buy signal. So for me, it was a matter of making some of my altcoins that I was in. I've ended up moving over to Theta because of this buy signal. So I was really excited to be hopefully now making some money back on my other trades. So there we go. That's Theta versus Bitcoin. Again, my goal is to have as much Bitcoin as possible. For every trade that I make where I win, that money goes into Bitcoin, gets put onto my hardware wallet, into my fireproof safe, and gets kept there. And then the only time that I bring my ledger out is to put more money onto it every time that I win a trade and make more Bitcoin. Bitcoin versus, Theta versus Tether, a very similar kind of story here. Although we do have a little bit more of a what's the word I'm looking for? More of a hidden bearish divergence kind of feel to it. It's not totally hidden in that we're going higher, whilst the prices are coming down. But we do have a little bit just here. If I show you like this, it's very slight. It's very slight. It is very subtle, but we do have this kind of like going on here, whilst the prices were going from here to down to wherever they went, wherever they went to. So like from this top here, which would have been that candle there, to the high, which would have been that candle there. So we had a hidden bearish divergence sort of playing out here, and then the hidden bearish divergence kind of stopped, and then we had just regular bearish divergence kind of happening here, just sort of confirming that we were going down. So we kind of knew at this point here that we were going down, but just how far, we could only speculate. But the fact that we were very close to the oversold area, I wasn't too worried that we would go too far. So yeah, that's really what we're looking at there with regards to Theta and Matic. Good stuff, good trade there. Not financial advice, but it's the things that I'm doing myself, my own personal independent thoughts, which I'm sharing with you for entertainment purposes. Bitcoin dominance, whatever the Bitcoin dominance is kind of going sideways, this is kind of good for altcoins because it means that altcoins can get a chance to breathe, and confidence starts to come into the market, because as that happens, you tend to find that Bitcoin ends up going sideways as well, and it has been. If anything, it's been going down, but kind of going sideways, and while it goes sideways, people get bored of Bitcoin, and therefore they go into altcoins to start building up building up their portfolio because it's not volatile enough. And yeah, so that's pretty much it there really. So I'm hoping that the Bitcoin dominance will start now sort of coming. We had this golden cross happen, and this death cross is hopefully going to take place. Does a death cross and a golden cross kind of work in these areas? Such a low cross there being the 20. Is it really a death cross, golden cross? Well, on a smaller time frame, maybe if we were to bring that and then stick that onto the 4-hour chart, it could potentially be for short period. But that medium line of the Bollinger Band is the 20 SMA. So we've got the 20 SMA and we've got the 50. Yeah, if I bring it, it's actually on. Yeah, so there you go. So the 50 and the 20. Yep. So it'd be nice if the dominance ended up falling. Kind of got this M pattern maybe forming here, bringing the dominance down here would be great, because it would give us a chance to make some more money. Alright guys, that's it really for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you maybe you learned something. Maybe it would stop you from making a bad trade. Maybe you'll make some money off of it. Maybe you'll just use this video for what it's meant to be, which is entertainment purposes. So I'm going to get off before this MacBook ends up dying on me, and say thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next stream. Quickly before I go, I've got 1%. Got to do it quickly. GME, AMC. I don't know what's going on with them. I did my technical analysis, and then they went and they just blew me off, because there was no way that I could have predicted a 25% move from here. Whilst my lines all meet up perfectly, I just still wasn't expecting it to happen that fast. So yeah, very difficult one to do when you've got the Reddit group and the hedge funds fighting. So this is me signing out, and I'm saying thank you very much for your time, guys. And with that, I'm going to go off to my thing and end stream just here. Alright guys, see you later. Bye bye.